Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about probably like the most talked about movie right now, which of course is Black Panther. So today I'm going to be talking about probably the most talked about movie right now, which is Black Panther. And it's gotten a lot of hype around it, I'm not gonna lie. And some people think that the hype is justified in it being casted well, directed terrifically, action off the charts and everything like that. And some people just think, oh, you know, it's just another Marvel movie, of course they're gonna hype it up, I'm not gonna go watch that shit. And today I just wanted to talk about my opinions on the movie and what I thought about it. So for me, Black Panther gave me like the whole experience of being in Africa, from, you know, the landscape shots to the clothing that they wore, the accents, the lack of light skins, everything that that you would experience being in Africa. I gotta say, like, starting off, I was really like, the fuck, butterfly just flew by me. I was really happy to see Daniel Kaluuya in this, because this is like his second year in a row being in like a really good like acting role that was like meant to be like significant in like the African American experience or whatever, like him being like a role that like embraced like African culture and black culture, whatever you want to fucking call it. And I don't know, it's weird, like, I'll talk about it later, but it's weird talking about like the separations between like African culture and like black culture, like African American basically, but you know, black culture, whatever. But I don't know, I feel like this movie like really embraced, like, not like to the full extent, because it is like a fantasy world, but it's still like embraced a lot of like, but a lot of like the cultural aspects of it are based on real life, you know, African tribes and stuff, which isn't something you really see in a lot of like Western, like Hollywood films. Like the majority of them are like kind of just the same old thing, and they're not really like deep into it. This isn't like, and I see where like the disconnect is, where it's like, oh, that's not even like Wakanda really, like that's what you're gonna compare us to or whatever. But it's like, it's still like a good, it's still like, it's a feel good film. That's what it really feels like in a time where like we as like a people are kind of going through like a lot of shit with like police brutality and just low-key racism that people just feel around America and around the world. It's just like something that makes you just feel like, hey, I have a hero that I can point to, and like I can be like, hey, you know, that can be me one day, or something, you know, something like that. But even beyond just like the fantasy aspect of it, there are like a lot of real life, you know, questions that are asked, and like themes that are kind of just posed, that a lot of, at least of my life, I've thought about, just like, why isn't it like this instead of like this? And just, you know, I'll talk about it later, but it's just, I was surprised to see like how far they took it with some of the characters in the movie. I think I'll just start off with the parts that I liked about it. I mean, I basically just said it all right there. It was just like the feel-good thing of just seeing like someone that looks like me, just, and it doesn't even have to be like, I don't know, I don't like bringing up race into things like this, but it's like, it's kind of meant to be like it's kind of meant to be that way. Like, there's so many white and like other superheroes out there, and it's like we don't really have a lot of good, cool like black heroes, and that kind of sucks. But it's like, when we get the good ones, it's like they're just the sidekicks, or like the niggas that don't really do shit. And I don't know, it was just cool to see like a whole thing, like, I don't know, you know what the fuck it is, but it's just like, that was just cool to me. I honestly couldn't even think of anything that I really disliked about the movie. Like, the pacing was really good, the direction was really good, the cast was like, just like everything about it was just like, it was good. Like, from Michael B. Jordan to Daniel Kaluuya, Chadwick Boseman playing every single fucking important black person in history right now. It was just like a really good time to like just watch the movie and just enjoy it, for me. And I can see where some people might not I really don't see how you can not like the movie. Like, if you just enjoy, like, you don't have to be a comic book super fan like I kind of am. Like, you can just go into it not knowing shit about Marvel, and you can still just walk out like impressed. And that's kind of like the cool thing about Marvel that they do, is like they can make it feel like they can bring you into like a movie and like you have no idea what the whole universe thing is about, and you can leave loving it and still like have like a little piece of what like the past and the future of like their movies are going to bring. And that's like such a cool, like, I respect Marvel so much just for like their way to like build that, like craft that whole universe around just like, I don't know, just everything like has a little touch of something else to somewhere else. And it's just like, that was just the best part for me. That was like the icing on top of an already good movie. And the part I think I liked more than anything else in the movie was the villain, which I usually don't like villains in movies, or just because like they're not like really that, they're usually just like wishy-washy, like, oh, I'm going to take over the universe to rule everyone, and like this the same like shitty plot to like try and take over something because you just fucking want it. This one actually felt like Michael B. Jordan in this movie actually felt like the way I've thought about things so many times as like just growing up, wondering like why are black people, or like just people of like darker skin tones, you know, always the ones being victimized. And it's such a weird political thing that I have to talk about later, but it's just like, why are we always seen like at the bottom? And like, if you could go back to Africa and like just be a normal person, like that would be the coolest thing ever. And just, I don't know, a lot of like really interesting things that he just said in the movie just made me think like, wow. And also made me kind of think like there was a disconnect, because he was like he was just an extremist about what he believed in. Like, obviously this isn't fucking real life, but to a point, like there were like people like Malcolm X, or like some branches or like cells of the Black Panthers who were like separatists, who like didn't want, you know, black people living with other races, and like wanted to build like a whole thing, like a little town. I don't know the whole like schematics of their plan, but like it was weird thinking about that. Like, yes, I want us to progress, and yes, I want us to like feel prideful about the way we look and like where we come from. But it's also like, to an extent, like you can't, the thing with him was like, you can't like, he wanted to like basically switch positions to where like the black people were on top and then the white people were on the bottom. And it's like, not sure if I'm rocking with that one, fam. It's just like, for me, I don't really know how I, like, real life talk, like I don't know how I feel about that part of like the movements and things like that, where it's just like, yeah, we need to unify, but I don't think that fighting, it's weird, like, 'cause I'm not a violent person, man. But when it comes to like the way you have to live your life and stuff, it's like, yeah, if you just gotta do what you gotta do, then I'm all for it. But it just raises so many, like right now I'm just like, I haven't planned any of this shit out. I'm just talking from like my head, and even right now I'm just like conflicted on what parts I agree with. And that's what I think makes him such a good villain, is like he makes you feel something that a lot of other like movie characters don't even make you feel like that, let alone the villain. And I was actually like rooting for him like the whole fucking time. Like when he killed fucking T'Challa, I was like, oh shit, like this nigga's really with it. I'm not stupid, I know he's gonna come back to life, but I'm like just thinking like, damn, like he actually did that shit. Like he came and he fucking conquered for a cool 20 minutes, and then they came back and kicked his ass. But even like his last fucking line was still like iconic as fuck. And it's like, you can't like, you just can't not like have some kind of liking towards him, or just understanding. And it was just like, wow, like the way that they just brought him in and made him like just this relatable character. Because I know a lot of people that look like me kind of can agree with him to some point of like, yeah, that's kind of fucked up, like we need to change something about it. Or just like, And oh my god, and again, it's like you can't fucking say you would agree with him because it's fucking fantasy, but it's just, you know what I mean. It's weird, but it's a means to an end to where you can understand what the fuck I'm talking about. And I think the most relatable thing about him was just like that disconnect that he seemed to feel from Africa. Like, I know so many kids who like, oh, I'm going to Mexico to see my family, or oh, I'm going to fucking Spain, or I'm going to shit, I don't fucking know, Ecuador or some shit. I'm going back to see my family, and like they're going back to see like their roots, or like their home, whatever land. And for me, and like, oh, what the fuck? For me and other like black people, it's like you can't, like, I don't know where I'm from. Like, I can trace it back to like some place in the South where like my family was sold somewhere, but I mean, other than that, it would take so much fucking time and so much money on Ancestry.com that I don't have to figure out like where the fuck do I come from. And I think that was like the biggest like thing that made, like, the identity crisis of him was like what made it such like a relatable thing to at least African Americans in this certain movie. And I might be wrong, but I feel like there was some little like shots at Trump in this movie too. Like, there were parts of the movie where after Killmonger becomes like the Black Panther and the King or whatever, everyone's kind of like on edge as like they're making the transition and everything. Like, people just completely don't fuck with him, but there are the people like his, like the bodyguard, who are like, well, whatever the fuck he does, I have to, like, I'm here for my country. I'm here like just solely to protect my country. And I feel like that was like really parallel to like some of the people in like law enforcement, or I don't know, whatever, who felt like after he won, who might not agree with him, are still like, you know what, I'm just here to protect my people. Like, fuck it, fuck whoever's in charge. I still have, like, you still have control over what you do. And I feel like that was kind of like a, not even necessarily like a Trump thing, but just like it could be used as that, but it was just interesting to me like how kind of parallel that was to just kind of like the political climate now. Was just like that cool like 20-minute scene of him just being in power and people not really knowing whether or not to like go through with like the plan that he has, or just like protect the people that they like originally took on that job to protect. And that was just really interesting to me on how that is like just relevant now. And honestly, now that I think about it, the only parts in the movie I didn't really like were like the end credit scenes, and that was just like because it was low-key stupid to me. Like, you're gonna like, it could have been so many other different things, because Marvel is so big and like they have so much new shit coming out, that it could have been any other thing than just him going to the fucking United Nations and just standing there and like just looking at people like, just, okay, what does that have to do with anything? We already know that people know about Wakanda. We already know all this other shit, and it's just like that could have been used to like set up the next Avengers movie or the next Black Panther, or just something else. And then the fucking scene with Bucky is like, we know he's there. Like, if you saw Civil War, which you probably should have seen before you go see Black Panther, was like, we saw him. Like, we know he's there. You already told us that. It could have been like so much other shit. I personally think that this is like a little Marvel fan theory from me, is that the Soul Stone that they're looking for, if you know anything about the Infinity Stones, I forgot, the Infinity Stones and like the whole Avengers thing or whatever, I feel like the Soul Stone, like the last thing they're looking for, is gonna be in Wakanda. And if you've seen the trailer for the new movie, it probably like already confirms that. I feel like that's just like how they have like such a deep connection to like the spirit realms, and like, you know, the little heart-shaped thing that they eat, and like they can go into like the little dimension and shit. I feel like that's like from the Soul Stone somewhere in Wakanda. So that's just my little theory that I kind of just have. They could have just put that in the movie to make it like to affirm the theory, but fuck you. Fuck them, I guess. Oh, important note for black people. If you want to help make Wakanda a real place, stop buying Jordans. I'm telling you straight the fuck up. Save your money and save your money and go down to the link below, the www.buildwakandafoundation.org. No light skins allowed because we're trying to make it in Africa, and you know, no half breeds in this bitch. But but make it a real thing. Stop buying Jordans. We can do it. Wakanda forever.